迎继续回到2019炉石战绩 HCT 世界总决赛最后一天的赛程，我是主持人安娜丽。Welcome back to HCT World Championship Final Day. I am the host of today, Anna Lee. 是的，刚刚我们进行完了一场呢，即将4强要进入到冠亚军的决赛，我们也恭喜呢 Viper 成功的可以挺进我们的冠亚决赛。而接下来的另外一位要跟他对决的选手是谁呢？就是我们的国服选手 SNJing 以及我们的 Hunterace。那这一场比赛呢，可以说是非常非常的硬，因为呢，只能说不成功变成人。如果呢，在这边没有办法呢挺进下一场比赛的话，就要跟我们的25万总奖金，应该说是25万美元的冠军奖金 say goodbye。所以呢，对他们来说是非常重要的一战。那待会呢，我们选手出场的时候，要好好帮他们加油一下。那在这边呢，安娜也要稍微借用一点点时间，要做一件事情，因为大家知道那个 Hunterace 其实呢，在去年年底2018年的时候，其实有来到我们的那个台北进行全明星赛，刚好呢也是安娜我所主持的。然后那个时候，因为我其实不知道他的名字怎么念，所以其实我不小心把他的名字念成了 Hunterace。所以自从那之后，我就一直觉得，对他有一点小小抱歉。然后因为他这一次也是进入到我们的世界总决赛，然后呢，就是今天我在跟他稍微就聊了一下天的时候呢，他就说，哎，那个英文台都说你英文讲得好快，好像在 rap， 好像在饶舌一样哦。我就跟他开玩笑说，好，如果你待会成功晋级下一场比赛的话，我就唱一首饶舌给你听。所以我们刚刚花了点时间写了一首 rap。希望这一首祭品饶舌纯属娱乐，可以帮我们的选手好好加油一下。Okay, before the players come to the stage, there's something I'm going to do on the stage. The fact that actually earlier today at the backstage, I made a promise to Hunterace that if he advances to the next round, I will rap for you. Actually, I'm not good at English rap at all, but I'll try my best. So here's the rap. Okay. Hunterace, don't trade gold face. We all just saw how he bad. New haircut, he's going with Scott. 3 masters, you gotta give it up. Hunterace, don't trade gold face. This is plan to take first place. OK， 好的，这一首的 rap 呢是送给我们的选手，希望大家呢可以用不同方式来帮我们的选手加油。紧接着，我们将邀请到2位选手登场了。OK, next match is coming. Let's welcome the 2 players to the stage. Let's welcome SNJing and Hunterace. Gentlemen, please come to the center of the stage. 来，2位麻烦请到我们中间。Good luck. Do you like the rap? Okay, please take a seat. 好的，紧接着呢，我们的比赛马上就要正式开始了。现在就把我们的画面交给主播赛评。Let's send it over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Rap Goddess Anna Lee. My name is Frodan. I'm joined by Brian Kibler, and while we are not as eloquent in poetry as she may be, we are equally as excited for this second semifinal. We already have 1 world finalist in Viper from Germany. Will be another fellow European, or perhaps history can be repeated with another final appearance from a Chinese player in Jing.
Yeah, and so far we have 3 of the 4 European players made it through to the top 8. 1 of those 3 made it through to the finals. Hunterace could be the 2nd European player to break through and really cement the dominance of that region this year.
Yeah.
And it would be fitting. We have Viper, one of the players who made it to 2 different championships. He defeated his teammate, got revenge on his practice partner, Bunny Hopper, for beating him in the semifinals at the championship where they both qualified earlier this year. Now Hunterace, he is the points leader. Can he emerge at the top? He has to get through Jing first.
Yes, there's lots of storylines to talk about. The first, of course, is that both warriors have been banned. And Hunterace was thinking about different decks that he wants to target. He was talking to me backstage. He's like, I think I'm going to ban Tempo Rogue. I haven't been able to handle rogues really well. I was like, no, maybe I ban his Bomb Warrior because, you know, I try to target Warrior, but those are the slow controller warriors. So these are things that Hunterace is thinking about and accounting for all possibilities. But he said, you know what, not going to overcomplicate it. I've been banning Warrior a lot. And I've been trying to see if I can face off against other decks. And he feels confident, although he said the big weakness in his lineup has always been Rogue throughout this entire tournament. Although, I mean, if you ask him, he's been getting himself into wacky situation after wacky situation.
We were talking about this a little bit backstage. It feels like that Shaman deck of his almost is designed to get himself into ridiculous situations that he then has to claw his way out of.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, that's sort of what Control Shaman does in this format is, you know, fall behind, and then claw back, often involving Hagatha, which means you naturally are going to find yourself in situations where you have to adapt to unusual things happening.
Oh, all right. Well, the game board is being set. The second semifinal is about to begin. Who is going to Viper in the grand finals? Is it Hunterace from Norway who's playing his Control Shaman, or Jing who's playing his Token Druid, which has been a huge question mark, and yet it's delivering when it matters the most?
It has, and Hunterace here, he has the Wild Pyromancer, which is one of the inclusions in his deck that is very different from the rest of the field. Most players who chose to play Shaman chose to play the Thunderhead package of overload spells plus Thunderhead is their sort of early game AoE style removal. Hunterace didn't want to overload himself too much for his power turns with Hagatha, with Walking Fountain, and instead chose to play Wild Pyromancer alongside Ancestral Healing to have some AoE. That said, he doesn't have that many cheap spells. And that Wild Pyromancer plus Ancestral Healing may be great at clearing off a single Whispering Woods, but may not be enough to deal with the AoE. And yeah, he's going to keep the Pyromancer, throw back the Ancestral Healing.
Yeah, this is some of the stuff that Hunterace is prepared for compared to the normal Control Shaman list as you're talking about. And he was also saying, you know what, I am ready to take down Token Druid 3 times. This is definitely the deck that he does not want to slip through.
And Jing here, he has the coin with Keeper Saladris and the Power of the Wild. We've seen him make very strong use of Keeper Saladris in a number of positions, and here is possibly a good one.
Yes.
The ability to get that 2-3 out in the board and then follow it up with a 3-2 that gives you 2 more spells in hand against a control deck like Hunterace is oftentimes it's a resource battle.
Yes.
And being able to get those extra resources while developing thanks to the Keeper is very powerful.
This is a big play here for Jing to try and immediately get that value and that tempo. Hunterace picks up the Hagatha scheme. That is a crucial card. Extremely vital to control the state of the board. So that way, if things even get a little bit out of control, he can reduce the pressure if needed. The big thing is that Token Druid has been laying their threats really well, and Jing has also been playing, he's been timing his things and his threats appropriately so far, and really made it complicated for those control decks to wipe away his board.
And one of the most important cards against control for the Token Druid decks is already in Jing's hand, the Forest Aid. It may be expensive, may be slow, but against these decks you often have quite a bit of time. You know, they don't pressure you, they don't kill you very well. Though Hunterace is built with the Ancestral Healings plus the Walking Fountains, can often put you in a very uncomfortable position, at least late in the game.
Yeah. The 6 Swampoos on 2 is something that's joked around a lot by his friends. He's saying, like, the Acidic Swampoos on 2 is like Shaman's best play because you need to have something to play and develop onto the board, because Totem doesn't really do anything. You're basically gaining a little bit of life or armor.
And Power of the Wild is available for Jing. He'll make himself a 3-2, I imagine, right here, and get himself some more spells to go along with that hand that is developing quite nicely for him.
Would you even just buff the Steladris?
That's an option.
I mean, you don't have any way to capitalize on it further in value because you don't have any choose 1 cards, but the upside is being able to keep a threat and, annoy Hunterace to maybe use other removal.
I feel like making the 3-2 allows you to just get a little bit of damage in, and having a 3-1 here effectively if you do buff and then trade. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and make the 3-2. Gets those extra spells. Very powerful effect. He's going to trade himself.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he chooses to trade himself here. What is he playing around?
I'm not really sure, thinking about it. There's no real removal that feels like it would tremendously punish him. Maybe he's playing around an Acolyte of Pain and then a trade into the 3-2. Maybe he just wants to protect the 3-2, feels like it's more valuable.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, maybe Hunterace would end up just minimizing damage as much as possible.
The Swamp King Hegatha is a pretty good draw for Hunterace because, not now, but it is a card that will ultimately actually give him something relatively proactive to do, which is something that overall his deck kind of lacks. The problem will be getting to a point where he can play Swamp King Hegatha safely because at that stage of the game, and this, Jing, he decided to trade, and by doing so, protected himself from just having a 2-3 against this 3-3.
Right. This might look very confusing if you think about the battle cry of Mind Control tech, but Hunterace wants to control that state of the board again, so that way he's not dependent on stealing the correct minion, or even in worst case scenarios, Hunterace steals a minion but dies anyways, because there's still 3 or 4, maybe even 5, 6 minions on the board that Savage Lords you.
Yeah, when you're playing a deck that generally is going to need to constrain the size of your opponent's board in a matchup like this, you can't really afford to let them get a bunch of stuff in play, because if they do, well, it's going to get buffed up. It's going to end up being a real problem for you. And there's the Treants. Trade comes in. Both players still at 30. And the draw is Walking Fountain. That Pyro that Hunterace kept doesn't have that much help. He has Earth Shock, which is one activation of the Pyro, but without Farsight, without a cheap spell to go along with that, it's going to be hard for him to make much use of it.
Yeah, that was one question mark that we had, which is Wild Pyromancer often is best with cheap spells. And if he doesn't have access to that much right now, when is the timing for Pyromancer? I think he is very keen on that turn 4, which is Whispering Woods. That'll probably be the first threat check from Jing, if he had it. But since he doesn't, he might just instead go for the Power of the Wild options that were given to him by a Keeper Steladris.
And that is something that Hunterace knows is there. He knows there's the Summon Panther leader of the pack here, which means, at bare minimum, there's a 3-2 plus a buff for the entire board available next turn. There is Hagatha's Scheme available to Hunterace. And this isn't a matchup where you're just relying on Hagatha's Scheme to blow out one big board. The problem is they can keep, with a good draw, that the Token Druid deck can keep generating boards, and any just even mid-sized board starts to become very powerful. And as the game goes on, it becomes more and more powerful, simply because there's so many opportunities to use Blessing of the Wild and Leader of the Pack and Savage Roar to really buff them up if you have enough mana.
That's right. Hagatha's Scheme's great, but it only answers half of the forcing. So Jing picked up Belligerent Gnome, a card that has been growing on me a little bit, although the more I talk to Ike backstage, the more I feel like Token Druid can go in a completely different direction and still have a really good game plan going into the late stage of the game. But yet, Belligerent Gnome, where you saw it against Zoo Warlock, when we saw it against Rogue even, it had some opportunities to make some big plays because of the buff and that taunt body.
Yeah. The Belligerent Gnome, it does get pretty big. The 4 health to start on the Gnome,
yes,
is pretty nice because it carries buffs very well.
Yeah.
And now
this is fairly sizable.
5, and this is essentially 3 or 2.5, 3.5 cards committed because of the Keeper Steladris. 2.5 even.
Yes.
And now does Hunterace need to pull the trigger on Scheme? He does.
Yeah, he needs to stop taking damage. Recognizes that Jing did use one of his buff cards, but Jing was ready to go with more cards, with more board fill with the Dream Guardians and Summon a Panther.
And just think about how powerful Keeper Steladris was this game. It gave him that buff, didn't require him to commit anything else.
Right.
Still has the Summon a Panther in hand. Just giving him so many extra resources in a deck that can often, until it gets to Forest Aid, really struggle for those resources when it's facing a deck that has AoE clears.
Yeah, and I think that because Hunterace's hand has some pretty high-value stuff, like the Walking Fountain, like Swamp King Hagatha, perhaps he learned a little bit by watching not only, of course, his own gameplay, but we saw, just a couple of series ago, Just Saying had pretty much every form of AoE that he would ever want, including Swamp King Hagatha, Swamp King Hagatha. And then he still lost against Zoo Warlock because he was a little bit too greedy. And so when you have all these late game options, I think Hunterace is saying, you know what, I'm okay utilizing this even though it's not the best value that I can usually get. Yeah,
though here, he finds another high-cost card. He picks up a second Walking Fountain. He has this Wild Pyromancer that's been in his hand since the start of the game, has an Earth Shock, but no second spell. That means that Jing, he's going to start next turn with 3 minions in play unless Hunterace rolls spell power or chooses to play the Wild Pyromancer and Earthshock one of these minions.
I think he would want to because his turns are starting to get pretty strong from next turn on. So I think by Hunterace going for this, good sequencing by the way, because they want to damage his own totem, especially if it's a searing totem. Looking for healing totem.
Stoneclaw's good too. This is actually a pretty interesting situation because now Hunterace has constrained Jing's board somewhat. So it does make the Blessing of the Ancients in hand significantly less powerful. He can only, he could use Blessing of the Ancients once, attack into one of these, and then hero power down the Wild Pyromancer. But mostly what Hunterace, when he talked about how he built this deck, he was talking about the power of the high-cost cards, the power of Walking Fountain, the power of Swamp Queen Hagatha and Hagatha herself. And that's all he's really looking to do is bridge to those power turns. This isn't about maximizing the value of all of his cards. It's surviving to the haymakers. And it looks like he may have done that.
Right. Also, the Pyromancer challenges the double buff.
It does.
Jing was probably looking to do.
I think is a crucial element of this, that you leave yourself with a 3-power minion in play, and yes, your opponent can hero power, but you do at least deny the possibility of blessing here.
Yes, the slowdown is important. And Quonky Hagatha, has some big swing potential.
And this board isn't that big. So, the Giggling Inventor for Hunterace, I think, doesn't have to come down. He can just play Swamp Queen Hagatha if he wants. And the Mind Control tech draw is actually pretty powerful because in addition to the Walking Fountains that are already in his hand, that means he can play the Duskvar Horror alongside a Mind Control tech next turn if Jing goes wider in the board.
Hunterace weighing the 2 7-cost minions. Giggling Inventor nerfed, but still finding use in a couple of decks here. And if he wants to go wide now, it softens up the board. But exactly what you were saying, what is he accounting for? What does he even really want for Hagatha if he doesn't get the AoE he's looking for? If he doesn't get Lightning Storm, what are some other options that he can get? There are a lot of spells in the Shaman pool that don't do anything.
There are, however, the ability to stitch together powerful combinations. Even if you get relatively low impact things, sometimes say you get, Voltaic Burst. Like, well, if you go Voltaic Burst and you can combine it with the Stormbringer, or you get Big Bad Voodoo, which he gets. Looks like he took
Beakered Lightning.
Let's take a look at what exactly he chose. It's Totemic Smash and Beakered Lightning. He's just going for board control there. And the Beakered Lightning is a way for him to clear off a Whispering Woods.
Yes, that's big. But he does know that the Blessing of Ancients is in the hand.
Right.
Therefore, if it did come down, it most likely wouldn't be a good it wouldn't be a good Beakered Lightning without spell damage.
I don't actually think that spell damage affects the spells that you cast off the Duskvar Horror. Because I believe that it counts as a battle cry effect, so it's not getting your spell damage. It casts the spells.
But yeah, it gives you the overload.
Correct.
Wow, all right. Well, that debt system seems to work very realistically, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hunterace, he took that Beakered Lightning so fast. I saw that there was a Stormbringer in there, and I didn't see what the other option was. And, yes, maybe it's just the memer in me who's like, ooh, Stormbringer. But I feel like sort of the discussion that we were having before regarding, how much can you really value the Beakered Lightning in a situation where your opponent has the defense nations that you know about. All right, well, these are just the 2 minions.
Yeah.
Getting in here.
I think Hunterace feels like card for card, he still has just better quality.
And there's Walking Fountain. Speaking of better quality cards, Walking Fountain is absolutely dominant. But there's that Forest Aid in Jing's hand here. And how exactly does he want to petition the attacks? Does want to keep the most health on the Walking Fountain.
Very dominant for Hunterace. Exactly why he was okay with Pyromancer and Scheme going away. But now Jing can begin his Forest Aids push, but he's also leaving up the Walking Fountain. So that's kind of the decision that's weighing on his mind and why it was important for Hunterace to keep that extra health onto his element.
Yeah, and it's a little bit scary because there are 2 copies of Ancestral Healing in Hunterace's deck. So if Jing is just going to leave this up and cast his Forest Aid, which I think he almost has to do because it's so hard to find good opportunities to play Forest Aid in general. It just costs so much mana. That Walking Fountain may only look like it can kill 2 things, but if there's an Ancestral Healing, it kills something, gets healed back to full, kills something else, and still has 6 health and Taunt. to follow things up.
Yeah, if he goes for a removal option, he's not actually developing anything significant. And then, let's say he swipes here and plays Power of the Wild, Hero Powers down, Swamp King Hagatha, which will be at a 5-1. He's giving up his buff on the Power of the Wild and also giving Hunterace the opportunity to take a very big proactive stance.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I like this Gibbler.
This is a very reactive turn from Jing that puts him into a position where he's going to find another turn to spend that 8 mana.
I understand the reason why he feels like the need to, but you know, Hunterace has a lot more in the tank, and he also has to worry about the Drust for Heart. Like that card alone could just be problematic.
Walking Fountain number 2. Gonna walk all over you.
He's back in the same exact spot almost.
So we need to actually make an album with Annalee's incredible rap god performance of the Hunterace, you know, don't trade, always go face, and then there's, you know, this fountain's made for walking, and it's gonna walk on over. I don't really know that particular rhythm to that song, but I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good.
No, I think you guys will hit platinum within a couple of years.
All right, well, this fountain is still around. Ancestral Healing is the draw. And this is what Jing feared. This is why Jing decided to kill the fountain last turn, but he cannot kill this one. Hunterace can attack one, mind control tech, attack another, and still have a walking fountain with so much health, and play more into the board.
Right. I mean, he can develop with this Twilight Drake first just to get maximum health. This looks like everything is coming up Hunterace.
Yep. And now, you know, Jing is the token deck, and he is the one who is well behind on this board after the sequence of plays.
Yeah, and Hunterace is back at full life. He has board down from the Ancestral Healing. This looks really bad for Jing. Jing, of course, with a little head nod, recognizing that that is really bad news for him. Hunterace thinking if there's any room for him to be aggressive here. I don't think there's any need to. He does know that there's a second Forest Shade.
Can roll his, does he want to roll a totem?
Oh, that's also
I don't see any reason not to. Maybe he doesn't want to take up space in case he wants to play Giggling Inventor.
Yes. If his opponent can't kill the board, he needs every single minion spot with Giggling Inventor.
Yeah.
Blessing of the Ancients. So in this position, Jing, I think, is immediately considering, do I need a Savage Roar defensively, or do I need to Starfall, or maybe both to control the state of the board here?
Well, Savage Roar plus Starfall allows him to just use his hero power and the Starfall to take out the Walking Fountain. Again, Savage Roar plus hero power is 5 plus the 3 from Savage Roar and Shapeshift. And then does he use the other minions as removal and try to just get to, I'm going to grind you out with Forest Shade. Okay, I wasn't even thinking about the AoE.
It does just, I guess, more raw damage.
Yeah,
it does
that's
8
true. That's true.
5.
So, and then there's no clean combination of stuff other than maybe using the Blessing of the Ancients. You can use Blessing of the Ancients to trade 2 in, hero power down, but then you still leave up the...
You have Hogsteed in Savage Roar. So Hogsteed can
yeah. Hogsteed, Savage Roar. Still leaves you at 5, though. You just have to use 2 things. Oh, no, you use your face. Blessing. Okay. Interesting.
Whoa.
This is just such a defensive posture, though.
Yeah. This is basically... Oh, actually, you know what? Hunterace doesn't have that many minions in the deck.
That's true.
But he does know the Drust for Horror is bad.
Right.
I think that's also what I'm slightly afraid of. But Hunterace is more likely to pick Drust for Horror in a defensive manner as opposed to an offensive one like Stormbringer.
Whoa. Hagatha. We're not going to see that come down now. It's powerful, obviously, but he knows his Forest Shade waiting in the hand. But that is an incredible, like, preloaded answer to Jing's next big play.
Just for Heart is Totemic Smash and the Beakered Lightning, which would kill his own Twilight Drake. And if he plays Giggling Inventor now, he weakens his own Hagatha turn.
Right. It's a little bit awkward for Hunterace based on that. And he does use the totem now.
Okay.
Does not get healing or taunt. It is true that Giggling Inventor does weaken his own Hagatha turn, and it weakens his post-Hagatha value by spending a minion from his hand. And if he knows that there's a Forest Shade, I think that there's some argument to just either trade or attack phase. Yeah. And don't play anything else. Yeah, Hunterace agrees. Archmage Vargoth is the draw.
That's really good with Blessing of the Ancients if he has that wide board.
He did already use the front half of Blessing of the Ancients, so he doesn't just keep getting it back, which is one of the crazy things about Twin Spell and things that recast.
Yeah. No, Twin Spell ended up being really powerful with some of these cards, like Conjurer's Calling and the Forest Aid, Blessing of the Ancient. Jing also knows that Hunterace had an opportunity to develop with 10 mana, chose to pass, essentially.
Right.
He knows that there's just for hard in the hand, so he probably assumes that there's AoE to punish the Forest Aid. And I think with this Archmage Vargoth draw, maybe Jing just says, you know what, I might just go for the Blessing of the Ancients buff anyways. Oh, no, with this hero power.
Yeah, we're going to see Forest Aid this turn. You know, as I mentioned before, it's just so much of a commitment. It costs 8 mana the entire turn. I will note, by the way, Jing is down to 13. He has not been attacked that many times by Hunterace, but they've been some pretty big attacks, and he's attacked into a lot of things with his hero power. And there is Hagatha.
That's crushing.
Yeah, we talked about how Hunterace found himself in some awkward situations that always tend to involve Hagatha, but this is
okay. That's a good draw.
That is, yeah. Vargoth plus Landscaping plus Blessing of the Ancients builds you a pretty big board.
Yeah, I mean, he saw another form of AoE.
Right, and Druskvar Horror does not have powerful AoE in it. It has Beakered Lightning.
Free of that blast.
You toss in the Hogsteed with it too, just to get that board presence?
It depends what you're going for. If you're going for the Blessing of the Ancients here, then I think that... Yeah, I think that... Blessing of the Ancients gets you out of... No, I was going to say Blessing of the Ancients can get you out of AoE range, right? Because if Vargoth Blessings again, rather than playing the Landscaping again, you can end up with 4/4s,
right?
And a 4/8, and that's out of Lightning Storm range, even with a high roll.
Yes. I mean, Hunterace has been holding on to one card to the left of the horror for a while, but if it is that second scheme, Jing's not beating that anyways.
Right.
So I think in his mind, he has to try and do the best thing he can to make sure this board survives. And maybe too many tree ants is actually a bad thing.
It's going to be the Hogseed, though.
I like the greed. I think Hunter's at 32. I don't know if you get there with just a handful of 4/4s.
All right.
Omega Defender.
That's big. But right now, Hunterace, he's facing a big board. There's a Savage Roar and Blessing of the Ancients in Jing's hand.
Yeah, and this is kind of where the mana cost of Giga Defender is very inconvenient for Hunterace.
Very prohibitive.
Because he would love to be able to Hex and play the Giga Defender to just get in the way, soften everything up, and then Druskvar Horror's Beakered Lightning can clean everything once they're done trading into the Annoyatrons.
He's going to Hex the Vargoth. He's going to play the Druskvar Horror at this point?
I think so.
He can use the Totemic Smash. It will cast Smash first.
Yes.
He could have... yeah, okay.
He could have done it on the Hogseed.
Right, he could have done the Hogseed and he actually would have...
Oh! Another Totemic Smash!
I was going to say he could have gone on the Hogseed and actually gotten a Totem. He would have killed... He would have left a bigger guy, I guess. Okay, well that was actually pretty big. Getting a cheap removal spell there was pretty important. 32 life does mean that Savage Roar is not scary, and the Blessing of the Ancients here doesn't really get him out of range of just the Druskvar Horror. Trading into a bunch of his minions.
Yeah, I think this might have to be a Wrath cycle, even though he likes
I think it does. I think he needs that second copy of Forest Aid pretty badly. He needs something that will generate significant board presence, not just buffs.
Jing's gonna look for something that helps cement his board too. I think Soul of the Forest is probably one of his better draws in this position.
Also good. Dreamwake Guardians.
I mean, that does help him with the wider board.
Yeah, he can play Dreamwake Guardians into Blessing of the Ancients, punch down the Druskvar Horror, and have a pretty decent board.
Yeah. Seems reasonable, but he's down to one card.
That card's Savage Roar. And those Dreamwake Guardians do mean that the fact that he's used his life total so aggressively is much less punishing.
He's down to single digits. Well, until he hits with the Dreamwake Guardians.
Yeah, he is down to 9. Hunterace, no burn or anything like that in his deck, but it is Hagatha, so he could find himself Lava Burst. He could find himself Witch's Brew. He's not going to die anytime soon.
Yeah.
Farsight finds himself a Twilight Drake.
Sure.
Yeah, he can play that for 1, then play an Omega Defender.
Yep. It's just 2 things to fight for the board.
And that's all he's looking for now.
Lightning Storm!
Oh, wow! That's what he's looking for now.
Oh, yeah. Now you can crush pretty much
but
this board.
But is this the best opportunity? Jing still has Forest Aid in his deck. How scary is this board compared to Forest Aid? You also overload yourself the future turn. If you play a Mega Defender now, yeah, I like this. I like just playing a Mega Defender. This board is not nearly as scary as it could be.
Yeah, and Forest Aid is Jing's last out because if he picks up Whispering Woods, that's not going to do anything. He's already drawn 2 landscapes. He's already drawn his Dreamway Guardians. His board summoning potential is actually a lot smaller than you think it is.
And a lot of players, I think, might have just pulled the trigger on that Lightning Storm and said, ooh, I can clear your board. I have 50% chance. But Hunterace recognizing he is playing a deck that needs to go long. Yes, he has his opponent down to 9. But if his opponent just draws Forest Aid, you just pull the trigger on Lightning Storm, Savage Roar can mean you lose.
Here's one of the things, too. Jing having a 12-6 doesn't mean he can freely trade with his own life total into the Mega Defender. In fact, he will die.
That thing's big.
And he needs the Savage Roar to get past this, so he has to trade 2 minions unless he's willing. Unless he's willing to trade with his life total with a Dreamway Guardian and then try to push with a little bit extra minion pressure.
Yeah, I don't know.
He can trade with the lifesteal first, go up to 14 and then take 12. I don't think you can withstand that. Because that means Hunterace would be on any damage spell from Hagatha to end the game.
All right.
Still 12 damage.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it might have been Jing's best road to victory to trade one of the Dreamway Guardians and tank that. Just looking at how this plays out, he's down a guy. He's down a minion.
Yeah.
And Hunterace has a bunch of resources. Jing needs every single minion he can get. Yes, maybe he dies to a Lava Burst coming off of Hagatha. This way, he just dies to just not even enough stuff. Not even enough minions.
Yeah, I mean, Hunterace doesn't even really need
Mossy Horror. Oh, wow.
Actually, the Youthful Boommaster on this Giggling Inventor is also equally huge.
Both of these are just so powerful. I believe Jing has used both copies of Power of the Wild, which is his only way to play Forest Aid and get it out of Mossy Horror range. That is just such a nail in the coffin. Look at his face.
It's actually a hard decision.
It is, because he can play Youthful Brewmaster right now, and that gives him another spell, gives him another opportunity for the Giggling Inventor. And he does have a Giggling board, yeah.
Love it.
Either of these are very powerful.
I think this is the right play, because it also gives him another spell to be able to get opportunities to shut down the Forest Aid. Savage Roar. Not going to do anything.
And this is Jing doing no damage. These 2 Annoyotrons are just brick walling his 2 minions and his hero power. He can take down 1, gain 2 life.
Oh yeah. And very reflective of the Boomsday Project metagame when Giggling Inventor just kept getting bounced and played again. Another Giggling Inventor.
And yeah, now Hunterace is just absolutely running away with it. He has all the tools he needs to close this game out.
Like we said, Lightning Storm not even really needed in this position. Hunterace is cruising to a victory. And that Control Shaman, having all of those late game tools, Giggling Inventor at 7 mana, doesn't matter. Jing is locked out, and he is hoping that Forest Aid is his next card. And even then, I don't think it's enough.
I don't think so either. He would need to spend the entire turn playing Forest Aid. That's a swipe. He can take out the Giggling Inventor and 1 of the Annoyotrons.
Gosh. In fact, it kind of helps Hunterace because he needs more board space.
So he's going to play another Giggling Inventor. He wants room for everything.
Yeah.
Can you kill something, please? I want more spells and more minions. Come on. Get him out of here.
I think Jing is also starting to think, is it even too late if I draw Forest Aid next turn? Do I even keep playing this game? Swipes the Healing Totem.
Okay. And yep, that... from Hunter's perspective, thank you for the board space. But Jing is thinking, I got to get through these. I got to fight through these turn after turn. I can't have that Healing Totem in the way. Now, even more Annoyotrons in the way, even more spells. There's a scheme.
Another scheme. In case you guys didn't know what cards were good against Token Druid.
There's Forest Aid, but you can Forest Aid, there's Lightning Storm waiting in the hand. That is answer number 1. Hagatha Scheme is going to tick up. It's going to be answer number 2 for both halves of the Forest Aid.
And then Jing has dead cards in his deck now. So, I mean, Whispering Woods will summon 1 Wisp.
Yeah, he's got Whispering Woods, he's got War Druid Lodi. These are just not going to beat Hagatha.
Right. Pyromancer.
He's got everything. Hunterace has it all.
Yes.
Lightning Storm clears the way. And this is just the march of the Annoyotrons.
Yeah, funny enough, Hunterace doesn't actually have any like good pressure. He's just got an army of mechs. He's playing Mech Shaman. He could play Tempo Pyromancer if he so desired, just to get this over with a little bit quicker.
There's a Wrath.
Okay, Wrath does actually help Jing in this position because it helps him dig deep against dig deeper into his deck and also shut down 2 damage. And there it is. The final push, and Hunterace has got this pretty easily.
There it is, the Pyro, oh, Shutterwalk 2.
Yeah, Shutterwalk to even just repeat all the battle cries that were played this game. Like summons more Annoyotrons. Like that in itself is already locking Jing out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hunterace going
good
for
sequencing to do this first before the Pyromancer.
Like to play with fire?
To mutate. Brew.
Then can just preemptively attack, heal the Pyromancer.
That's still around. You got to punch that down.
Yep, and Jing down to his last turn here.
It's even protected by an Annoyotron. You cannot punch it down. Ooh, Warlord Lady. Okay. It's a rusher.
Sure.
He is technically still alive.
I mean, maybe it goes into taunt mode with the 1/6.
You've got to get that Pyromancer off the board.
That's fair.
I mean, I think that you're going to see Whispering Words for 2 Wisps into a rushing Lodi into a hero power. Yep.
Into Shutterwalk, just doing the whole thing all over again.
Or Hag of the Scheme. Whatever Hunterace wants to do to win this game, he can do it. He has this all but locked up.
Yeah, the Shutterwalk is just going to summon all the Annoyotrons back, and for extra measure, he can mutate the Shutterwalk at the very end.
Got me a 10-drop. But the Shutterwalk gets Omega Defender, so he doesn't really want to mutate it, because it's gonna be huge.
Fair enough.
See, Ancestral Healing. Oh, he's thinking about how many things that may put cards into his hand that may trigger or something? Is that why he's Ancestral Healing?
Sure, that's right, because he was going to be generating spells in his hand.
All right, and there's the Shutterwalk.
Oh, he's going to kill him for lethal with the Totemic Smash?
That would be great. 16, 14. And yeah.
Okay. Lightning bolts.
Finish him off in style. RNG game. You got the lightning bolt off the Haggadah.
So lucky. Hunterace takes the first game of this semi-final, 2 steps away from a destined fate against Viper in the grand finale.
And I think in the minds of a lot of players, those are the 2 question mark decks in these lineups. Hunterace has struggled mostly with that Shaman. We talked about how it kept getting to these awkward spots. Sometimes he was able to find his way out of them, sometimes he wasn't. And he had needed to figure out a way to get this Shaman through. Jing, his Druid deck, has been the weak spot of his lineup. The one match he lost 0-3 with his Druid. He needs to find a win with that, or Hunterace is moving to the finals.
Yeah, Token Druid has been a deck that has been suspect, to say the least, but Jing has been able to defy the odds and be able to climb up slowly but surely. And as we get ready for game number 2, we're going to find out what happens as this best of 5 is just getting underway. Don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone World Championship action continues right after this.
The cards see a heart that is stony and a totem that's all kinda bony. This witch in such danger will soon be no stranger, 'cause she's gonna be our new crony. We welcome you into this room, and we promise your enemies doom. Just one more who's coming. The last one I summon is a fella who makes things go boom.
我是凌乱镜，虽然我是个新人，但是我足够努力，然后心态现在也放得比较平和，然后这次比赛我会就是把自己表现到最好，把自己的风格也会展现到极致吧，然后 希望大家能够支持我。我的专业是传媒学，然后其实我学的专业和我现在从事这个炉石竞技，我认为是或多或少有一些联系的，就是我会把之前在学校学到一些专业知识去用到竞技炉石所涉及到的其他一些层面吧，比如说比赛解说，或者是做主播这些类型，所以说我还是蛮热爱我的专业的，也蛮热爱炉石。对，我认为就是一对一的这种竞技比赛是能完全的印证，就是能够证明自己的实力吧。另一方面的话，我认为就是竞技炉石也会给我带来一些就是生活中的一些乐趣吧，就每次去参加竞技比赛会认识到更多的朋友，还有就是和我一样足够对炉石有热爱的这种一帮热血青年，所以说在这个过程中也收获了自己的友谊，所以我非常热爱竞技炉石。如果我夺冠的话，我认为原因的话一定是源于我首先最主要的是对炉石足够的热情和投入。虽然口头上说是运气，但是运气往往都会站在那个就是足够准备足够充分，而且表现足够好的那一边。所以我虽然一直在强调运气，但其实我更多的是在比赛中尽量的把自己做到最好，然后我认为自己做到最好，那个所谓的运气就会偏向你这边。
Jing's gonna need all the help that he can get up against point leaders of the world. It's Hunterace, as he is currently up 1-0 after his control shaman, putting on full display why he has put his faith in Hagatha. Now we go into game number 2. It's going to be a Rogue mirror here. Hunterace said Rogue was too good for him not to bring. Hunterace loves bringing those slow decks, those controlling ones that love to get into those late game weird scenarios, but he said Rogue was just the nuts. And so when he brings it, he has a lot of faith in it. And this will be the closest matchup that I think that could influence the series outcome.
Yeah, and these two Rogue decks are quite similar. There are 2 copies of Shadow Step in Hunterace's deck, while only a single copy in Jing's. Jing does have access to Acidic Swampers, which is a card that can be a big swing card in a matchup based around Waggle Pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Waggle Pick is going to be very important, but so is Hunterace's Evil Miscreant, and the fact that he's on the coin.
Yeah, the coin is a very big deal.
Yes.
In Rogue mirror matches. Rogue in general, you likes to have the coin, but in the mirror match in particular, having the ability to combo without having to expend a resource is a particularly strong impact of that card. And the Evil Miscreant is very difficult for Rogues to remove when you coin it out, when it just comes into play right away, and that can lead to a Witchy Lackey evolving into something even bigger.
Although I would say the rest of Hunterace's hand a little bit more awkward since it's removal oriented.
Yes.
Not like Jing's hand is much better. He's got a bunch of combos that don't work with each other. He's got Waggle Pick without the Dread Corsair. He's got SI7 Agent without the combo enable. He's got Preparation with no spells. So he's a couple of draws away from greatness in my opinion. Like say he picks up Raiding Party, and then he'll be really cooking. And Hunterace, he's pretty much just dependent on this Evil Miscreant to give him big plays to develop the tempo.
Yeah, and Jing here, going to take things a bit slow. No real plays in the early turns. Both players looking for Raiding Party. Jing in particular with 2 copies of Preparation. Not a lot of uses for that card in this deck outside of Raiding Party. It is, I think, indicative of just how strong Raiding Party is that you play Preparation basically for that card.
Right.
Of course, Hengeclan Burglar does give you access to additional spells, and it goes very well with spells discovered off of Ethereal Lackey. But naturally in the deck, the only 3-cost spell is Raiding Party. Everything else is 0 or 2.
So
I guess Vendetta too, but that's mostly 0.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Speaking of zeros, there's a lot of those in Hunterace's hand right now.
Yeah, so I think Hunterace, he wants to coin this Evil Miscreant, but I think he has to weigh his future turns because Miscreant is the core part of his entire hand. So for example, is he willing to even Shadow Step it early to try to make sure he can get value off of it? Because then he can play Lackey and Miscreant the following turn. And he's running out of time, so he has to actually decide. It looks like he's going to hold back for now, so that way he can coin out the Miscreant and then Shadow Step it if he needs to, respond to his opponent's hand. I think Hunterace has a reactive game plan right now, but incidentally enough, so does Jing.
Yeah, and Jing with the Vendetta draw means that he has that Burglar plus Vendetta, which is extremely powerful. Tempo reactive draw that allows you to also develop in the same time.
Yes.
Hunterace, I think Jing is considering whether it's worth deploying this SI agent, which could just die to backstab, and that backstab would enable the combo on Evil Miscreant.
Or even just a raiding card.
Right.
It's one of those things where rogues have been so attuned to the tempo swings back and forth and the combo activators that playing minions on 3, which is what rogue always wants to do usually, is something that they're hesitant on.
Yeah.
Because of that factor. At the same time, Jing's game plan without his SI7 agent is just pass again.
Right.
And then he's giving Hunterace development.
All right, and now Jing is effectively going to get 3 damage and a backstab out of Hunterace's hand in exchange for this SI.
Right. And that's something that Hunterace is really happy to see. And he picks up HCT Burglar.
Does find Kobold Lackey and Ethereal Lackey.
Oh, that is the gruesome twosome.
Those are, I think, 2 of the strongest lackeys that are available, especially in the mirror match.
Right. I think dealing damage is just what you want because you're able to win the board or push damage. The Ethereal Lackey also gives you so many options.
Good.
Yes.
All right, well, there's the HCT Burglar, and we could see Burglar if Jing decides that this is worth a Vendetta to get off the board and prevent Witchy Lackey or Shadow Step shenanigans.
I think he is something that you should heavily consider to remove this 1/5.
Kind of weak options for Jing here. He has those 2 preparations. Oh, and he does have the Fan of Knives as well. I overlooked that in my earlier analysis of preparation.
Rapid Fire would be insane rogue card. Let's just put it out there. It is absolutely nutty. I mean, you guys already saw how Malagos Rogue was able to utilize Razor Petal Volley to max extent. Imagine you just started with the pedals in your hand.
Well, yeah, Rapid Fire is interesting because it is a strong combo enabler. It also allows you to pick off lackeys, which can sometimes be a little bit annoying in the course of the game, where you are attacking with your dagger or you're like just trying to consolidate a board so that you can sort of overcome your opponent's aggression. Cybertech chip, so he's going for serious value here.
Yeah, I think he's saying I don't actually have a game plan.
Yeah, I think with kind of a hand that's mostly air, right? He has 2 preparations. The Waggle Pick is strong, but a lot of his hand doesn't do that much. If he can get lackeys with chip, ooh, Vendetta also picked up for Hunterace.
Hey!
Spellbender, Blessing of Wisdom, and a chip of his own.
Yeah. I was about to say, we haven't seen a lot of Meg Hunter this weekend.
Got Mech Rogue.
Yeah, we got Meg Rogue.
No problem. Blessing of Wisdom is the pick.
Yeah, I think Hunterace feels like this is a battle of resources, and rightfully so. He's going to discover a spell first, just in case. He can utilize, say, Backstab instead of Vendetta.
Preparation. Fan of Knives does cycle, but Preparation, his hand is mostly cheap stuff. But with the Eviscerates, Preparation is pretty powerful. I think that there might be a concern from Hunterace here that he does lack much in terms of impactful stuff if this minion dies. So I think that there may be some consideration given to Fan, but does decide to go ahead and take Preparation.
Yes. I wonder if I'm Hunterace, do I swing with this dagger, choose to hold on to it, and keep
Burglar number 2 for Jing. He does have the Preparation, so we could possibly use that in combination to try and take back the board. Could just Waggle Pick. The Waggle Pick here allows him to take down the Burglar, get some damage off the board, and does set up for a possible Burglar into bounce the next turn, especially powerful with the 2 preparations.
Waggle Pick is like an investment into the next draw, which is something that I don't think Jing feels very confident in right now.
It's fair. He finds Splitting Image and Unexpected Results. He could prep either of them this turn.
The prep unexpected result gives him the board, and Hunterace is not exactly a deck that can deal with wide boards easily. At least with the knowledge that he has.
Yeah. Right now, Hunterace's hand is actually fantastic against unexpected results with the Kobold Lackey and the Eviscerates and such.
That being said, the average health of a 2-mana minion is around 2, and Rogue excels at dealing 2 damage when they have things like SI7 agent.
And that is the tempo option Jing decides he'll take. Preparation gets out unexpected results, and what is the result?
Soup Vendor. Oh.
Ooh, I didn't even think about the Cybertech chip. This combos and gives him some value in a hand that's pretty light on it. Oh, I like this. Obviously, it depends on what comes off of these results.
Right. The only thing is that there's not a lot of mechs in the Rogue class, and so you're going to be relegated to getting neutral mechs, which a lot of them can be pretty weak.
Yeah.
But there's also some insane ones. We're talking about Ziliax. You're talking about just having high power mechs like War Gear.
All right, well, the Blessing of Wisdom plus the attack. That's a Spark Drill. That's a tempo card.
If the shoe fits.
Assassinate.
Deal 2 damage.
And Hunterace not really heeding too much the Cybertech chip. He could have, for instance, sapped one of these, but decides...
Lotron. For the magnetic, I guess.
All right.
It gives Spark Drill some...
Spark Drill does give you mechs that have rush.
Right.
After the initial mech that has rush. The Leroy draw, has to have Jing evaluating, especially alongside the Waggle pick in his hand, okay. Well, Hunterace, he's at 26. Do I want to keep trying to play a resource game, which is pretty scary considering the hand size advantage that Hunterace has here.
And I think he's weighing the Spark Drill versus a fan of knives and reactive play. And once again, Jing has been showing that he likes the reactive, take it slow play.
Oh, underbelly fence.
That's a big time draw here for Jing.
Yes, it is. That allows him to take off the entire board. That is a Cloak Skull Chemist is his 1/2 Divine Shield minion in play. They can take out the Burglar, and then the fence can take off the Fox. And suddenly, Jing is the board.
He's ahead. And, I like that. Again, he hesitated. Yes, this looks like a fairly obvious snap play, but once again, evaluating his options just to make sure he's not jumping the gun a little bit.
He's just going to drop the Glowtron.
Yep. Board dominance. This is a tempo matchup. Spend your mana. Get the board. Put out stats.
Hunterace picks up Van Cleef.
Okay. Jing does not play saps in his deck.
And this is a hand that can make a really, really big Van Cleef.
Brian Kabler, every World Championship, we've been saying this from the beginning, every World Championship, Edwin Van Cleef puts on a Hall of Champions worthy performance. And it has been huge for every player that's brought Edwin Van Cleef into their lineup. And I think we're once again going to see something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Hunterace, he has a lot of options here to utilize the Van Cleef. It does require committing a lot of resources to do things that aren't that powerful. You can use Eviscerate on the 3/1, Preparation, Eviscerate on the 1/3, or, Eviscerate the Chemist, then Eviscerate the 1/3, then Dagger down the 3/1. You have to use your prep in there on one of the Eviscerates, then you play a Van Cleef. You clear the board and get an enormous Van Cleef in play, but you spend most of your hand doing not that much.
Okay, when you phrase it like that and you kind of talk about the plays option. Oh, Zap is a great tempo tool.
Right.
Dude, some of these cards that just come out on the other side, they're so useful. And he can clear the board. He can save the Zap, obviously, for an Edwin turn, which I think is something that he's leaning towards.
I don't think he wants to killer the board here. Yeah, I think that what we're going to see is that Zap hang out with Van Cleef to do a bit better. And I think part of this is Hunterace is thinking, well, if I can Shadow Step the Burglar, right, as part of my chain to get a giant Van Cleef, it's just a lot more powerful.
Right. And also it increased the flexibility of his plays based on what he draws or reacting to what the board is. And I think that's something that Hunterace has done. Although it looks like he's pretty unhappy with something, and it's probably because he figured out one of the flaws in his lines. Usually when players are making that face, they identify a pretty big weakness that they may have overlooked due to the fact that rope was burning and they didn't account for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Hunterace was going to commit the Eviscerate there, he on the 1/3 in the first place, he could have just gone in on the Edwin, and the fact that Jing does have no saps puts him in a great position. And now he's sort of just giving the turn back to Jing, and will there be targets for his saps and his removal in play?
Second Fan's raiding party.
Oh, it's a
that
big
gives
one.
him more resources, which is big.
And he's going face. And this is the problem with Hunterace's plan. Hunterace's plan was trying to conserve resources to some degree. There's his own Leroy.
There's big damage. On the line here, Kibler. Leroy and Shadow Step, Van Cleef, Eviscerate, Saps and Assassinate. I mean, that is just the aggressive hand.
Yeah, and you know, he has 7 mana available to him. He can he can attack with his Burglar, Shadow Step it, replay the Burglar for 2 mana. We'd still have 5 mana available.
I like it.
Yep.
Start with that.
And maybe he finds something that he wants to prep out now.
Right.
Finds Haunting Visions. Oh, you can prep Haunting Visions. Just continue to stack up this Van Cleef.
Yes. Prep Haunting Visions, which helps him get another spell. Oh.
Mass Dispel. Okay.
That's his answer to... Wait. Okay, so he values another card from his deck for 1 more mana.
Yeah. Haunting Visions gets you something else too, though. Okay, he's going to prep into Sap.
To eviscerate into Van Cleef.
Face into Van Cleef. Okay. So the Mass Dispel is
to get past taunts. If he's playing for the Dread Corsair, he knows that his opponent has the opportunity to set up Dread Corsairs. And he's setting up a big Van Cleef so that he can push past that. And he would have, would he have lethal with that? No, he doesn't have enough mana to do that. Mass Dispel costs too much mana.
Yeah, Hunterace kind of shaking his head here.
Uh-oh. I think he was making all those calculations, but he forgot that he didn't have preparation to do all that.
He could have cast Prep, Mass Dispel, Zap your guy instead of sapping. And he would have had Sap for a taunt into Leroy next turn if there's 1 taunt.
Right. If there's 2 taunts, he kept that Mass Dispel, but
it does not.
Regardless,
yes.
There's still 18 damage showing, which is a lot. And if Hunterace picks up an SI, is that enough? No, because he doesn't have enough mana for a dagger and SI.
And Jing, you know, he has the Waggle Pick Leroy. He can get in there for nearly lethal. He has 16. Hunterace is at 18.
In his mind, though, he knows a rogue card was discovered. He knows there's a Hench Clan Burglar card. That's still really scary.
And there's a mech.
Yes, and he has no taunt. That Leroy will just finish the game. Jing needs to go now. He's out of time. No, it's not active. He needs to draw for the Dread Corsairs. He gets both of them.
Double Dread Corsair is big.
But there's the Mass Dispel.
But he doesn't have enough damage. It's only 18. There's 18 damage.
Both Eviscerates have been used.
He is short on mana for lethal here. And I don't know that he can... Well, there's no guarantee that Leroy would bounce with the pick itself. He can use Assassinate. If he assassinates one of the Dread Corsairs, attacks into the other, face for 14, what happens? There's
dead to Leroy. Oh, no, but the bounce.
There's 15. He's not dead to Leroy. He's not guaranteed dead to Leroy.
I thought you said there's 16 damage with the
There
Leroy.
was. That was when there was no other minion. Leroy plus pick plus Leroy is 16 damage when there's no other minion or guaranteed to bounce on Leroy.
Right.
Right now, there's no guaranteed bounce on Leroy. So assassinate on one of these, trade in the other.
Okay.
14 to the face. Puts Jing on needing to deal with your Leroy or kill you. Or rather, you need to kill your Edwin or you. And it's not easy to kill Edwin. It takes almost much to kill you.
Is he trading? Well, because he still has the Leroy with the,
all right.
the Van Cleef.
All right.
And now Jing has a 50% chance to win right now unless he draws something else.
Yeah. Vendetta is the draw.
Okay, now let's think about, does he have removal tools with the Spark Drill? Because he's got 7 damage there, and he doesn't actually, if he had another card from another class, he could actually remove the Edwin and win back the board.
Wait, no.
So
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because he could Vendetta his own, well, he could also just Vendetta his own minion and be guaranteed the bounce if he had an ability to activate
there you go. He would have been
at
lethal at that position.
Right. If the Vendetta was active for 0, he'd have guaranteed lethal. Now he has 50-50.
Here we go!
Going for it.
He's going for gold!
Hunterace is covering his eyes.
The moment of truth!
It hits Leroy!
Jing gets the Leroy bounce! And this series is tied up, Brian Kibler!
One player with Edwin Van Cleef has always won Worlds. Edwin Van Cleef did not win this game for Hunterace. But Jing still got one of his own.
Jing got one of his own, and that was a massive victory for the Chinese player. The crowd is loving it. And more importantly, Hunterace has a bunch of questions in his head about what ifs. What if he planned a little bit better with his mana expenditure?
I feel like that turn where he sapped the Cloak Skill Chemist. Yes, he set up the possibility of having the Master Spell to get through both of the Dread Corsairs, but he didn't have the mana available for several turns to do that, and Jing took advantage of that. Jing took the time that Hunterace needed to set up the lethal he had sculpted with that Discover, and was able to kill Hunterace before he could strike back.
And also, Hunterace, he was also accounting, like, if his opponent only had one Dread Corsair, he'd still be able to push through with that 14 Leroy, the dagger.
Right.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that Hunterace need to cover every single base possible, and he didn't, and Jing narrowly able to punish him out.
Well, just look at the players' reactions after that game. Jing is sitting there calmly, counting things out, calmly, going through the plays, going through the motions of his head. Hunterace, head in hands. He is clearly stressed after that game.
Yes, it's his first championship stage appearance this year. He got in through points. Everyone else has made an appearance or qualified through the championship directly. And Hunterace, he has to now compose himself, which is one of his weakest areas of the game. This kid is really good at Hearthstone. I don't think anyone's going to deny it. I think one of the areas he admits that he needs to improve on is his mentality while he's on stage.
And that's one of the things that, yes, Hunterace was the points leader throughout the year, but as you mentioned, he has not appeared on a stage of this size before. Jing was at the previous championship. He has played, on camera in front of tens of thousands of people before. Hunterace, yes, he has played at a bunch of tour stops throughout the year, but never been quite under the microscope as he is here at this event. As the worldwide point leader, there are so many expectations for his performance.
Yes.
He's my champion. I'm counting on him for packs. That's going to weigh on his soul.
I mean, look, if you dropped here, he at least got to the second step right before the finals. I mean, because if he goes one more round, you get one more pack, Kibler. How greedy could you get? I know you're a dragon. I know you like the Horde, but come on.
I want it all. And so do these players. They want to make it through to the finals and have a shot at that trophy and at that $250,000 first prize. And Hunterace, he's going to use his Hench Clan sneak deck, as I like to call it.
Double mind control tech. Hunterace has a mage deck that is teched to beat aggressive board-based tempo decks like Zoo Warlock, like even Token Druid. And I mean, that's reflected in his double Rabble Bouncer, his Mossy Horror, his Hench Clan Sneak, which sets up a mind control tech. And you saw it yesterday, and you might see it again today. We'll first start things with that Book of Specters, though. Hunterace tossing away that Conjurer's Calling.
It's strange to call this deck, this mage deck, sort of a breakout deck, because it's a deck that has been very popular on ladder. The Conjurer's Calling, Book of Spectre, Mountain Giant mage deck has been one that a lot of people have been playing on ladder since the release of Rise of Shadows. But the specific builds that Hunterace and Bunny Hopper and Viper in particular have been playing, as well as Bloody Face, if you look at those decks that have mind control decks, that have Rabble Bouncers, most notably the Rabble Bouncers, I think, really give the deck an incredibly powerful game plan against aggressive decks while not fundamentally diluting its strength against control. And I think that has been the reason these players have been so successful. If you look at the overall lineups for the tournament, every single player who brought Mage made it through the top 8 with the exception of a group in which there were 3 players who played Mage. Only 2 of them could make it through.
That's right. And 3 out of the 4 semifinalists had that Mage.
Similarly, Zoo has been a deck that has been somewhat maligned throughout this tournament. It is a deck that has, of course, been successful for many players. Jing is here in the top 4. Both Bunny Hopper and Viper now through to the finals, they played Zoo. They clearly had a lot of success. But it has frequently been their weakest deck.
Yes.
And many players were swept on their Zoo decks.
So just to center back into this game, Jing already had a couple decisions that he wanted to weigh. First is he had Magic Carpet and he wanted to coin it out. But by playing this Flame Imp and making it susceptible to a 2-mana minion that Hunterace had, Jing is no longer going to be able to get like that big damage from the Flame Imp unless he's willing to pivot and play Voidwalker instead. And if he does play Voidwalker, that means that the Swedish Swamp Boost gets to double up in terms of what it kills.
2 minions.
Right.
And from Jing's perspective, well, he could go in here, right? He could play minion, coin minion. Well, that opens yourself up to mind control tech.
Right.
So Jing needs to consolidate his threats.
Wow.
And I actually really like this, because Magic Carpet is very threatening. It makes all of his future minions more threatening, doesn't expose him to MC Tech. Ooh, that though is a nice draw from Hunterace.
It's a very good
Scale
draw.
Worm does give him the possibility of interacting with that carpet. Ooh, the Conjure Calling hit is big. We see a bit of a...
That is a risk that you run. That when you draw that spell with the Book of Specters, you are no longer allowed to keep it. And Jing now has the magic carpet ready to go for a ride.
Yep, Hunterace does have Scale Worm, which is not quite big enough to kill the carpet. And Jing here, though, he could obviously sort of maximize his carpet here, just play out 3 1-drops. Again, that exposes him to Mind Control tech. And in this matchup, from Hunterace's perspective, a lot of it is about trying to get Jing into a position to use his tech cards, to use that Mind Control tech, to be able to maximize the power of his Rabble Bouncers.
Yes.
And Jing needs to try to avoid getting hit by those, but still put enough pressure to put Hunterace in an awkward position. Here, Jing, he coined out Magic Carpet. He can just go in, but there's the MC Tech possibility, and it looks like he's just going to tap. He wants to, and he's even going to play the Voidwalker. This is protecting the carpet from the threat of a Scale Worm coming down and allowing the Scale Worm into ping, taking it out over turns. The problem for Hunterace here, he's just playing a minion deck.
Oh, babe.
His entire deck is a bunch of minions. So all he can do, ooh my, that is a powerful card for Jing. I don't know if he's going to play it now, but
it is good stuff, though.
Yes. Now Jing, he can use these 1-drops rather than develop a board and potentially get hit by a Mind Control tech. He can just play out 1-drops and keep pressuring with, say, 3 minions each turn to keep hitting Hunterace, and then use the Magic Carpet to send in minions to kill everything that Hunterace plays.
Yep, and I like that Hunterace played this Twilight Drake because he already has another Dragon for Kalecgos, but Hunterace is playing very quick, and this is something that's uncharacteristic to him. And it's one of those things where you just have to pay attention. Hunterace plays very slow usually. I think his mentality is being shaken a little bit. Hopefully he can continue to stay on course. Jing going for the Twilight Drake trades, very natural. And I think if I'm Jing, he might want to go for the Grim Rally now to stop a Dragon Moss.
I think we might see a additional 1-drop, see some attacks, then see the Grim Rally. Yeah, because it also consolidates to 3 minions, and they're 3 larger minions. Yep, gonna hit in for. That could have been better. He could have just Grim Rallied this before and saved the Bloodsilk Corsair.
Oh, and did he get the damage? Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, that was a bit of a misstep from Jing. He could, unless he was specifically intending to have 2 minions. If he had just attacked first, then played the Grim Rally, he could have saved an additional minion here and would have a 3/3, I believe.
Yeah, I think he could have optimized it definitely better there, and that might end up having big dividends for Hunterace. He can remove the Magic Carpet now. Next turn he can play Mountain Giant and then Conjure's Calling that. That Conjure's Calling draw, it may not look like anything really big right now.
Right.
But it has so much utility, not only just on his own minions, but maybe he needs to set up a Mind Control tech after the buffs have been utilized. So
next turn Hunterace can just use.
It's a bad draw.
It is.
It's another bad draw. It's not what Jing needs right now.
No, it's not. Frankly, having an extra 3/3 in play would be a big deal.
Yes, very much so.
And here, what I think Hunterace is actually looking to do, one thing that Jing has to be terrified of is the Mossy Horror. Mossy Horror just came down next turn. Ooh, that's just an absolute blowout.
I mean, I think you have to play as if Mossy Horror isn't a card in Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hunterace now, though, I think is going for Voodoo Doll plus Conjure's Calling here.
Yes.
So this gives him not only the ability to remove the carpet, that's why he chose to go with the Scale Worm attack last turn.
I like this
gives him kill the carpet, pair of 3-drops. They're not great, but now he's ahead.
Another carpet, but no 1-mana minions. Jing's been drawing non-stop 1-mana minions, and then he drew all of his top end.
Yeah.
And another Sea Giant!
Sea Giant. This may be the turning point. He can play that Magic Carpet, but he has no way to defend it. If Hunterace has anything that does any damage to that, he can take it. Mossy Horror!
Mossy Horror!
Well, it is good, but he got 2/2 power 3-drops.
That's true. But he does get to restrict the board size.
He does.
But right now he can just drop Mountain Giant with almost no repercussions. The only problem is
Yeah.
that he can't kill the magic carpet. I think that's something that's on his mind.
He also has to be thinking, what are these cards in your hand? You have a magic carpet and didn't play anything. What are the cards that make any sense to be in Jing's hand at this point?
Right.
And I think that Sea Giant is certainly among the cards that Hunterace is thinking about, which is one reason. Okay, well, if I play the Giant, what am I doing? Am I killing your minion to try to ensure that we at least restrict the board space? All right, so
yes, he needs to restrict the board
Jing's
space.
best card by miles here is Solarium. If he can draw Solarium and possibly even just draw a string of 1-drops, he could rush a Sea Giant.
Yeah. Problem is, Sea Giant needs to go down to 1, and I don't think he can.
No. There's a Sea Giant, though. And we have seen a Voodoo Doll at this stage.
Right.
So this Sea Giant may end up being a scary customer.
It is scary. That's for sure.
And now, from Hunterace's perspective, he has to think, okay, well, do I want to try to get Conjure's Calling here, use the Conjure's Calling on the Mountain Giant,
well,
so to get some value?
Yeah.
Or am I looking to trade off?
Or maybe push tempo. I mean, what if he gets Frost Nova? Power creation.
Power creation, doesn't have the mana for it. He's gonna take it. All right, he's going for it.
Yeah, I like it. And the thing is, if Jing has to develop into this, 2 Grave Horrors!
Wow.
Big outcome here for Hunterace. Jing with a deep sigh.
Play another Sea Giant, but it is already outclassed. Second Grave Horror waiting, even after the Sea Giant number 1 eats up the first.
Jing is even scared to tap in this position, but he's got to.
I mean, you're not winning if you don't tap, and frankly, at this stage, you're probably not winning if you do, simply with how big of a swing that double Grave Horror is.
Second Sea Giant's definitely scary.
Oh, yeah.
But Hunterace has a lot of options at his disposal. Hedge Clan Sneak.
The deck's namesake.
If he uses Power of Creation, he does not have the mana to hero power down that Sea Giant, which seems like the low-hanging fruit here. The problem is his plays on 7 mana aren't exactly great.
Right.
He could Mossy Heart and clear the board if he does.
If he does,
oh, no, he doesn't.
If he does Power of Creation, he can just attack the Grave Horror into the Voidwalker and then trade.
Okay. I like that. And plus, he has the upside of maybe even discovering, say, 2 Argent Commanders.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to get the sneak out, though.
Oh, yeah. He needs to make a statement.
Winning every game you play, you play the sneak.
I like this patience here from Hunterace. Also, I really like pressuring his life total. Every single attack to the face reduces his ability to life tap the longer the game goes.
And I think a lot of what's going on here is Hunterace is Calicos. So there's very little reason to commit the 8-mana Power of Creation here when you can just play Calicos into Power of Creation next turn, build yourself a wide board to trade into anything threatening your opponent plays.
Although, I mean, Jing looks like he might just get pressure out of the game with what's existing on board.
Oh, he's not in a good spot, that's for sure. I mean, now if Hunterace wants to, he can just bump.
Mossy Horror.
Yeah, he can just bump the egg, Mossy Horror, ping off the that giant, and leave Jing with nothing.
You can even have the Fire Tree Witch Doctor to get a spell to close the game. And I think that's exactly what he's doing.
Mossy Horror.
It's smashing time!
A single Sea Giant.
Pyroblast!
Pyroblast!
As if he needed anything else, Hunterace has guaranteed lethal next turn, and Jing has no way to close this gap.
Yeah, Jing has Leroy Jenkins, but 20 life for Hunterace, and that is it. The global point leader in his first championship appearance is now just 1 game from the finals. After you win, what faces the song suggests.
That's right. Maybe the secret power wasn't the haircut. Maybe it wasn't the deck list. It was Annalee's rapping skills. Or maybe he's just really good at Hearthstone. Who knows?
It's got to be the rap.
Hunterace up 2-1 and only has to win with his Tempo Rogue remaining. Many who peg to be the best deck in Hearthstone, at least in the top 3 for sure. And Jing still has to win not only with his Zoo Warlock, but his Token Druid. And keep in mind, Hunterace, he accounted for this possibility too, so he is ready to take on these decks.
Yeah, the token druid here may be a bit stronger against the rogue specifically because of the build Hunterace has chosen to bring. There are no Fan of Knives in Hunterace's deck, which does mean that he is much more vulnerable to the early aggressive token starts.
That's right. Without Fan of Knives, things like all those little Whispering Woods and all things is going to be really tricky to deal with. But he also has some powerful temple tools too, and I mean, Hunterace having that second Shadow Step might even be able to find some really cool stuff with the lackeys. And it seems like there's more Hunterace fans than people who are fans of Jing, I guess. But it makes sense because this guy's been lighting the Hearthstone world on fire this past year. Yeah,
and while he is at the table, he is, he's quiet, of course. You can't really talk much. We couldn't hear him if he was talking. But he's a very colorful character when you get a chance to sit down and talk to him. And he's clearly just so passionate and so excited about Hearthstone. I think that's infectious. I think a lot of people see that and they're like, you know what? This guy's a lot of fun. This guy is obviously a tremendous Hearthstone player, and I just want to see him succeed.
Yeah, and what I love the most about Hunterace is that he just thinks so differently about the game. One of the common inside jokes that a lot of players have when they talk about him is that Hunterace thinks he's favored in every matchup. He's like, yeah, this is like a usual unwinnable matchup. I think I'm okay. You know what? I think I'm favored. And it's like Hunterace, the data literally says you're 25-75. And he's like, nah, that data is wrong. I tech my decks perfectly.
I remember the first time I heard about Hunterace. I think it was on Watchstone when Just Saying was spectating people at the sort of end of the ranked seasons. This is, I believe, last year. And Hunterace was consistently at the absolute top of the ladder rankings. And that was when Raza Priest was so powerful. And people were like, oh, Hunterace just always has Raza on 5 and Andon on 8. And it was like, well, he certainly had it sometimes, but he also just always found these ways to win the games that didn't look like he possibly could win.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there. And Hunterace is now 1 game away from going to the finals. That is a full keep, and I like that. He's on the coin yet again with Evil Miscreant, and this time he's got Henchman Burger and Vendetta. Jing with the Zoo Warlock needs to get a fast start, and he does have Macaru, but he's got a relatively slow start after that. Yeah,
Jing here, again with a deck that can punish the lack of Fan of Knives in Hunterace's deck. He's got the Sea Giants, and the single copy of Sap in Hunterace's deck now in his hand. But if Jing is able to get out to a very aggressive opening, find Grim Rally in particular,
yes,
Hunterace may not have the time to take advantage of his Evil Miscreant and his Burglar Vendetta.
Hunterace with a really fast turn 1 pass. You've been seeing players rope turn 1, almost feels deliberate at that point where they're trying to troll us to say, yeah, I'm going to take my time. You're going to sit here and watch me. Hunterace, he says that when he plays fast, he's either nervous or he's in the zone. And I think when he's this close, it might be both.
No blaming him either way at this point. Coin Miscreant.
This is so massive. Miscreant does not die to a lot of things in Zoo.
Double Kobold Lackey. That is a lot of removal. Alongside that Shadow Step in Hunterace's hand, that will give him, in the 1/5 body, the ability to absolutely pick apart Jing's opening.
Right, and Jing does not have Soulfire in his deck. Nope. He would have to kill this with, Direwolf and Abusive Sergeant. Does not have that. And Jing was one of the players that was, popularizing Grim Rally back in the Winter Championship. So he knows his deck very well. And it was to the point where a lot of people were saying that was the deck that people should have brought. And is this going to be his downfall here?
It could be. Right now we are seeing Jing sort of trying to debate, how do I play this out? How do I find a way to deal with this Evil Miscreant, this incredibly powerful 3-drop that Hunterace has coined out immediately. Yep. It's funny to say, it's incredibly powerful 3-drop. It's a 1/5, but against Zoo, the 5 health is so important.
Right.
And the 1 power is good enough against most of the minions.
Yes. Like he can trade, Shadow Step, and then go back at it, get more lackeys.
Yeah, and we're seeing exactly this. Jing is like, oh, I thought for a second he was gonna, I was gonna say. If he just decides, okay, I'm going to abuse the Sergeant and send this into the Miscreant, Shadow Step just makes that all for naught. It's just wasted damage.
Right.
And Jing realizes this. He's like, all right, I'm not going to try and kill this. I am going to just push damage to the face. I have to kill you. I got Leroy. Yep. If I'm going to win this game, it's going to be on the basis of getting that damage into face and try to make a board that sticks and is hard for you to deal with.
Goblin Lackey would be really good.
Witchy Lackey, Ethereal Lackey are the pickups for Hunterace. He has a preparation. So a lot of access to possible options off the Ethereal Lackey. Witchy Lackey, interestingly, isn't necessarily good right off the bat onto the Miscreant, because like we were saying, sometimes you just want the 1 attack. You want the 5 health. If you make it a 4-drop, it can have less health. Grim Rally. That's a big draw for Jing here. And a Knife Juggler.
Just a little bit off mana usage-wise.
I mean, I think we almost have to see this Grim Rally here for Jing. His board is just so vulnerable to the 1/5 and the dagger otherwise.
He knows there's no Fan Knife, so Grim Rally with a bunch of 1/1 tokens is not nearly as bad.
Right, and frankly, he ends up making a big board that can push for 6 damage right now if he rallies on the Scarab Egg. And that's chipping away at the life total that Hunterace has here and making his minions much more difficult to remove.
Yes. And I think that's big. I think that's important because Hunterace, he's playing a little greedy here, but I mean, rightfully so because he has the ability to do that. It's Grim Rally.
Out.
That's a sizable board. Oh, is Jing really thinking about trading in this spot?
He just saw a Shadow Step already. No.
Yeah, there's
me no
way.
trade, me go face.
Yeah, 9 power on the board with Leroy in hand. There's only one place for Hunterace.
And it is the face. We're rappers over here already.
Oh, yeah, I guess, I am kind of a rapper.
But this burglar is really big. Weapons Project. Wow.
Rapid Fire is also has a lot of use here, too.
It does. He already has a weapon in play, so the Weapons Project loses a lot of its appeal. Yeah, I like the Rapid Fire, allows him to pick off those tokens.
What I like about Weapons Project is the life gain.
It's true, though it does give your opponent the weapon over turns that can either kill your board or go to your face.
Oh!
Sea Giant with just enough minions.
Wait, but there's a sap in Hunterace's hand, so that's not going to be impactful right now, but the fact is Jing has this as an option.
When Sap only delays it. Sap only delays the Sea Giant. Obviously, if you clear off bits of the board, it does make it much harder to come back down.
Right, that's the thing. Like, if Jing goes for the Sea Giant and it gets sapped, Hunterace will clean up the board to the point where he can't play next turn.
But there's only a single copy of Sap in Hunterace's deck. And frankly, Jing's other play is tap, hope to draw a 1-drop to go with Knife Juggler.
I wonder if he's going to trade. But he did see a Vendetta, so like the Vendetta swing is less likely here.
I think with Leroy in your hand and your opponent at this low in life, I think that you almost just have to send all 5 of this. No, he disagrees. He's going to trade. And incidentally, this puts him in a much worse position to replay the Sea Giant after a Sap.
Oh, yeah. But Sap is a 1-of. But Hunterace has all his base covered. He's playing Hand Rogue.
Yeah, I mean, there can be the Sap to deal with the Giant. It's a question of, do I want to prep it? And how do I want to distribute my minions that I play afterwards? Do I want to leave enough minions in play?
Oh.
Look at Hunterace just shakes it. What are these? Headcrack, I think, is probably your best option. Yeah.
Just to deal damage.
It does. It's a card that does something, unlike the others.
Right. Now Hunterace can clear the board with the Underbelly Fence and Sap. Save his prep for something else.
And the question is, in part, does he want to develop anything else on this board?
I think this is perfect because it's 7 mana.
Is he going to prep
for a Sea Giant?
Okay.
Oh, he's going to Witch Lackey. Okay, that's fine too.
This does mean your opponent can replay Sea Giant.
But that takes his entire turn.
It does.
Oh! Wait, there's only prep and sap though, but that's still good for the future turns.
Yeah.
Dude, you can head crack twice.
Oh, wow. That is interesting.
That's pretty good. Rogue's a class that plays a lot of spells, but they are target spells. You know, Rogue does like to do tricky single target things.
He's got a head crack. He just keep head cracking. Get that crack. Do you get the head crack back off of Vargoth too? Well, he just.
You mean you don't know, Kibler, the master of academic
generating more head cracks off of Vargoth? I think he will.
I look to you for guidance, Kibler.
I think he will. So Hunterace can Kobold Lackey. He can do something to clear this. And if he head cracks, the raiding party makes the head crack plan probably less likely. But
He could have, and it would have been sweet.
It would have been really cool.
In fact, he can rating party twice. If he rating parties, he's going to draw the rest of his. This is basically like a sprint.
Yeah, rating party. He's going to get another rating party. Unless he plays the rapid fire, then that could go wrong.
Yeah, I think killing the Sea Giant is of the utmost importance.
Absolutely.
Vargoth staying up, and now Hunterace, he's the Zoo deck.
And one of the biggest things about this Vargoth is not the fact that it's necessarily recasting this rating party, though it is clearly powerful because it gives him his Captain Greenskin and Second Blood Dread Corsair. So this means that next turn, Hunterace has Waggle Pick double Dread Corsair and the Head Crack, which will come back with the Vargoth after double casting.
Kibler, that is a sweet play, but that is not happening.
It's gonna happen.
It's not happening. But I'm on your side. If this was your stream, I'd be spamming in chat, do it in all caps.
All right, does pick off one of the lackeys.
Yeah, every juggle really matters here. He just doesn't want it on Vargoth.
Okay, does pick off two of them.
But look at this swing coming up with an SS7 agent. Hunterace is going to make his victory game-winning push.
Yeah, the Waggle Pick into double Dread Corsair, into SI Agent. No Head Crack for Vargoth, sadly, but this is just an absolutely dominating swing on this board for Hunterace. Zoo is the deck that tries to go wide, and it is Hunterace who has 5 minions in play to the single Flame Imp of Jing.
Look at him not rushing, just counting for every possibility. Is there any reason why I would ever kill this Flame Imp? And I mean, I don't think it really matters here because Hunterace, you don't have to worry about Soulfire. There's none in the deck. You don't have to worry about Archithief for Fam because Jing didn't put it in his deck. There's Leroy Jenkins as his direct damage, and that's it.
Are you afraid of some sort of magic carpet coming down and Solarium and everything going for a ride and killing your board?
Yes, that is a possibility. There also is Evil Genius into the exact spell he needs.
Flame Imp.
Oh, he didn't even attack with
two.
The weapon. Oh, he's afraid of the Bloodsteel Corsair.
Ah, okay.
Hunterace crossing his T's and dotting his I's.
There's a carpet. He doesn't want to get Corsair. That's the reason behind the holding the attack.
That's brilliant.
Flame Imp number 2 is going to come down. It will pick off some of these minions, but it's going to do a lot of damage to Jing. And we see the Leroy Jenkins just waiting in the hand. Hunterace just waiting for his turn. He's got 7 damage, 8, 9, and Leroy Jenkins comes down and sends Hunterace to the finals of the World Championship.
3 out of the 4 years of the World Championship, we've had a point leader, and once again, the Wonder Boy from Norway is going to claim victory and advance to the Grand Finals.
This is the first time we have seen Hunterace on the championship stage all year. Despite earning so many points at tour stops, he was never able to break through the playoff system, and now he is making the absolute most of his points lead with a spot in the finals of the World Championship.
And hats off to Jing. He had a heck of a run, but China once again gets stopped in the semifinals, making it an all-European showdown. Viper versus Hunterace. Only one can be the champion.
Yeah, and I think that this finals is going to be incredible. Both of these players have had such tremendous years. Viper, 2 championship appearances. Making a run through this tournament to defeat his practice partner Bunny Hopper in the semifinals, take revenge on Bunny Hopper's victory over him in that exact same position early this year when they both qualified for the World Championship. And now Hunterace, points leader, just heralded by so many players, the best in the world, and now he's the chance to try to claim that title in fact.
How many times do we get to really see this? You know, a kid that was able to build himself from the ground up, first heralded as just a ladder player. You know what? Just this random kid that is already beating all the best players. You know, it's because Rosa Priest was really broken.
Yeah.
That's why he was really good. And then he started showing up to online tournaments, and he started winning that. Then he went to tour stops, started winning that. And then he played Masters Cups with all the best players in the world, and he was winning that. There was Masters Cups that weren't streamed, and out of the 3 he entered, he won 2 of them against the elite of the elite. You look at those Masters Cups, all those players in it is basically Grandmasters already. Yep. Hunterace is seriously good at Hearthstone. If you haven't heard of him, you definitely have now.
And all that had really eluded him until now is the championship appearance, the championship title. He had won majors, he'd won tour stops, but now the title of world champion is in his grasp.
Yeah, and one thing too is that Hunterace, he's a sucker for his own storyline in the sense that he said, you know what, I lost that match, but I can go through the losers bracket, and 3 out of 4 years, the world champion has lost in the group stages, but made a huge comeback, not dropping a series after that. Can Hunterace or Viper, both are eligible to fulfill that prophecy? We'll find out that and more when we come back to the Hearthstone 2019 World Championship.